Hey, good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to my channel's Dark Hub Review. Today, I'm just going to do a quick, easy, simple one, and that is the beta testing for Final Fantasy VII EverCrisis comes to an end tonight, and I just want to get my final thoughts and impressions out to y'all before the beta test ends. Now, before we get into that, I just want to say for everyone returning, thank you so much for choosing these videos to come back to and watch, and to everyone new who's clicked on the channel so far and watched my videos and subscribed so far. Thanks so much, guys. I really, really appreciate it. 120 subscribers now. I know I'm still pretty small compared to a lot of other people's YouTube channels, but hey, I'm just having a lot of fun delivering a different way of reviews and discussions and chats pretty much. So I really appreciate everybody. Alright, let's get into it. So I've had the chance to play all through the beta testing of Final Fantasy VII EverCrisis, and they have a hit on the hands. Square Enix have a hit on their hands. It is a very, very different approach to a remake with all of them, and that's including another Final Fantasy VII remake, another Crisis Core remake, and then obviously we got the new one, which was Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier, which is a brand new story added in this whole compilation. I've not had the chance to finish that as of yet, but I'm hoping to finish that tonight before it closes. If not, I will wait for the full release. And then obviously down the line, I am looking so forward to the others in the compilation being Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus, Before Crisis. Before Crisis. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to those ones as well and how they play. Now, my final thoughts on EverCrisis is that it's a addictive, fun game. Now, as I touched, I'll put it up on screen. I did a review for beta testing so far. I think it was up to day 3, and I did a video of that, which has received a lot of views, which I'm quite happy about. And I spoke about them adding scenes that wasn't in the original, that wasn't in the remake, and they've added new scenes. Crisis Core has added new scenes into it, which is really fascinating to me that they've added scenes into it. And the same with Final Fantasy VII, they've added certain scenes that plays out completely differently. Now, I may be crazy or not, but I believe adding those certain scenes and switching it up changes certain aspects of the story that we didn't see in the original, and then in the Final Fantasy VII remake, and then of course obviously Rebirth and its final title in the remake trilogy. Whether or not that plays into Rebirth, we'll just have to wait and see, but it's just fascinating that they've added these scenes into this installment of games so far, and I feel like it's going to change the dynamic in this story compared to Rebirth and the original. Now, this may be all leading into something much, much bigger that plays into the story, which I'm fairly certain it does, because adding these scenes and not adding them into the remake makes it more, I don't know, it just makes it more mysterious. Why would you add those certain scenes? And certain things that happened in the original and the remake completely happened differently in Final Fantasy VII story and Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core's story. There's certain scenes that completely happen differently in its original versions, to its original versions. So it's just fascinating that they've added those now, which makes me believe that maybe Advent Children is probably going to go a different way as well. And then obviously Dirge of Cerberus is going to change things up to add to the story. And then, of course, Before Crisis, which is all about the Turks, which not played the original mobile game, so I would not have a clue. But I know it's set before Final Fantasy VII's story. So, and it's all about the Turks. So that'll be interesting to see there. Now, in terms of my final impressions for EverCrisis, it's a great game, although I do have some critiques or suggestions that Square Enix need to consider, which I've already placed in my feedback for. But I feel like with certain story elements, the power level requirement, and especially in towers and missions and daily, not daily quests, but other to get your different materials for upgrading your weapons and unlevel capping them and stuff like that. I feel like some of the power level requirements is a bit too harsh at the moment. It's a grind to get to a certain power level in the story. Like one of them requires 48,000 as a power level, and I've only been able to reach 44,000. Now for newcomers to it, when they get the full release, I'm hoping the power levels are adjusted for the stories. Even some of the Crisis Core power level requirements were quite hefty in the earlier stages of the game. And for the chapters so far, that the sub-chapters and stuff like that we've been able to play so far, I feel like some of it is really, it's requiring too much from the player at this stage, especially when it is a grind to get all the different materials to level cap, unlevel cap, level up your characters, level up their weapons, and then overboost and overlevel. It's fun and it's addictive. Don't get me wrong, Square Enix. I love it, but the power level requirement is ridiculous, really ridiculous at this stage, and it is a challenge. Like, it is a real challenge. And then with your Citra Tower, I feel like the enemies get way stronger, really, really strong, even at a power level of 20,000 and 35,000 and then 40,000. I feel like it's being a little bit hard for no particular reason until you get to, the later floors. But it's all about adjusting the power levels. So new players and myself returning as well can really get to those stages easier and have the grind a bit easier in order to get to that level requirement a lot easier. Now, some people may disagree with me, and I know I've seen lots of people's gameplay so far that their power levels are ridiculous, and they've gotten their characters up to ridiculous levels so quickly. And for someone like myself, likes to take my time with RPGs and all other video games in general, I feel like you're asking too much of the player to do too much of a grind in the early stages of any one of those three games that you had on offer for the beta testing. I just feel like Square Enix need to consider adjusting it so it's easier for the grind. That's pretty much all I have. Like, even the materials, when you finish it, instead of just getting 3 bits of material or 1 bit of material or 2 bits, how about giving a generous amount of materials in order to get players to be able to level up their weapons easier to the level cap where you've capped it off so far, and then As you go along, you get different materials to uncap the level so they can go up to level 50, and then over boosting them so their stars turn from gold to red. And then, your power leveling can be a bit easier. Daily quests is absolutely amazing. I love the daily quests. The Citra Tower so far is amazing, but I'm only been able to get up to, I think, floor... it's just before 50,000. Power level of 50,000, I think. And I'm still grinding materials in order to overboost and get the level ups. I haven't got summons yet. I don't think I'm going to be able to get summons. I don't even know if summons is available at this stage. I'm not sure. But I've had fun with the beta testing. I've just had a really, really good time. It's one that I can sit and enjoy for several hours and just breeze, just keep playing different leveling caps to get materials and that, but it is a grind. And I completely understand with a lot of other players, they're able to do it, not a problem. But when it comes to things like gacha games that have these sort of elements where it's all the luck of the draw to get particular weapons and particular summons and particular items and all of that to make it so much easier, it's all a matter of balancing it out, I think, to make it easily accessible and makes the grind easy in up to a point, and then when you get to those particular power levels that require you to do the grind, then that's more satisfying, I think, at this stage. And then you have all different combinations to get the power level up, and certain weapons, if you don't level them up, their power level goes down. It's all a matter of balancing out those particular issues, I feel, to make the game a lot more accessible to people that have never played a Final Fantasy game and are going into this mobile game at the full release, wanting to have fun and makes the grind easy in the early stages of any of those stories, the games, whether it be Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII, First Soldier, Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus, Before Crisis, Crisis Core, the First Soldier, if I didn't say the First Soldier, and Final Fantasy VII. To make it easier for people is to just make the grind easy, and then it caps at a certain point, and then it becomes, a challenge as we go. I mean, it was a challenge right from the word get-go, but I feel like it's a little bit too hard in the early stages, and I'm only up. I haven't finished Final Fantasy VII's newest for Chapter 2, which was added content. I haven't been able to get past Chapter 2 as of such, because the power requirement is just a bit too high, and the boss in this stage is ridiculously hard. And it's an early stage of the game. It's an early stage in the game. It's the pillar incident, where Reno shuts off the pillar and it's going to collapse. He is ridiculously hard at this stage. But I'll get the grind. I'll keep going with the grind and see how far I can get before the beta testing finishes. But other than that, that's my only gripe with it. I mean, the draw system is still really good. Like, you get stamps and stuff like that, which I've explained in which I explained in my Day 3 video. So go check that out, everybody. But other than that, this was just a quick and easy one, just to get my final thoughts out there. It's an impressive mobile game. I'll give it that. I'm excited for it. I cannot wait for the full release of this game. Square Enix have a hit on their hands, but they still need to maintain that level of accessibility and make some of the grind easy, and then makes the middle and end game a lot more fun as well with any of the games that they're releasing onto EverCrisis. But other than that, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. And I will bring you some more videos in the coming days. Alright, guys, take it easy.
Peace.